Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about what to do if you feel nervous around women. So if you feel nervous around women, the best advice that I have for you is that you actually need to interact more with women. You need to start talking to women more. And do so in such a way that you're not trying to get anything out of the women that you speak to. So, for example, what I mean by that is, go and talk to women for the sake of talking to them, not because you're trying to get their phone number, not because you're hoping that a potential relationship will come about of it. Just simply just to get practice in talking and being around women. Because it might be the case that for whatever reason you grew up in an environment where there was not that many women. I mean, perhaps you had your mum or or some kind of female guardian, but perhaps you didn't have like female cousins or sisters, things like that. Because I find often one of the big reasons why some men are not very good with women is because they haven't had many women to play with when they were younger as well. So you didn't have cousins stay over or had a lot of female friends growing up, and you sometimes see that anyway because usually boys play together and girls play together, and therefore they don't really get much practice in with how to interact with boys or girls. Now, I definitely went through this. Like, I obviously had a mother, but I didn't have any female siblings, and my female cousins actually moved away because I did actually have some time with my female cousins when I was a lot younger, but they moved away, and only recently, one of them, like about 10 years ago, one of them came back, but obviously I was an adult by then, and so were they. So it's like I only had brothers, basically. I had two older brothers. And so those were the people that I played with. I played with boys. And when I went to school, I only knew how to really play with boys because I had two older brothers. So I would want to hang out with the boys, which is what I did. Like most of my friends at school, especially in primary school, where we're learning to socially interact with each other. We used to hang out with the boys because I understood their games. I remember once I tried to play with a few girls, like a group of girls, and their game just didn't make sense to me because it just wasn't how I was used to playing. Like, I was used to playing boy games. So I didn't really have that much opportunity to understand and interact with girls. And I think sometimes men often have these issues as well. Like, they're not used to hanging around with women and being in the presence of women. If you want to get better at interacting with women, then you need to kind of make it a study. You need to become a student in a way, and just put yourself in environments where there's lots of women, basically. And when I say lots of women, I just mean, you need to, if you're at work or if you're at school, instead of going up to women with the, this kind of like romantic sense, go instead to them and ask them just questions about themselves, and don't think about getting their number or dating them or anything like that. Just simply use it as a study. You kind of need to become an observer rather than getting your emotions involved. And you need to become very observant instead, and less emotional when it comes to women. So go up to women that you know in your work environment, or who you go to school with if you're at school, and just ask them questions about themselves. Sometimes I think it's really good to find the women that are perhaps married or have boyfriends, because then you can ask them questions about their love life. You can say, obviously not too personal, but you can say things like, oh, so tell me about how you and your boyfriend met, or tell me about how you and your husband met. I'd love to hear these kinds of stories and things like that. And also, ask for their opinion. You can say, oh, what do you think of my outfit today? Like, I tried out a new wardrobe and I got a couple of new clothes. Or what do you think? Do you think they actually look good on me? Because I know women are really good at, aesthetics and stuff. So I was just wondering, do you think this fits me well? Do you think it looks good on me? Or you could say something like, especially if it's true, you only do this really if it's true, but like, oh, I'm going on a date in a couple of days. What do you think of this outfit? And perhaps you've got one on your phone or something like that. Like, what do you think of this outfit? What do you think I should wear? What do you think really, goes well with these shoes or something like that? Because women love to talk about their opinions on these sorts of things. So just get used to basically being around feminine energy, because if you're feeling nervous about it, then you might have some underlying belief that you might not be consciously aware of, that for whatever reason women are better than you. Like if you feel like women are better than you, or you're undeserving of women or whatever, I feel like this is especially what happens when you have a huge crush on someone. And this is exactly what I felt as well. Like when I would get crushes on women, I would think, oh, they're so much better than me. Like I don't deserve them. They're a perfect angel or something like that. Like I would have a very idealistic view on women, which actually ended up being very detrimental for me, because therefore if you believe that someone is better than you, or you believe that they're this perfect being, then you're going to act inferior around them. And if you're acting inferior around them, they're going to be able to sense this, because the truth is about women is that they will go out with the guys who are least affected by them. And by least affected, I mean they're not very emotional about them. They kind of treat them as equals. There's a lot of banter going on between them. And basically they can tell that they're not falling in love too fast. And that's why women tend to date the guys that are least affected by them. They don't want to date the guy who is overly romantic, that falls in love with them too soon. They want to date the guy who they can be on an equal level with, who they can banter with and talk to like a friend, like a good companion, and have a good conversation. Because if you are feeling inferior around women, then you're going to be in your head a lot, you're going to be nervous, and they're going to sense this, they're going to tell it. If you're coming across as too nervous and they can tell that their presence is affecting you, then they're going to go for a guy that is much more stronger and much more sure of himself and doesn't feel as just doesn't feel that way around them, that doesn't feel as affected by them. So you got to get to a point where you're not affected by women in this way that, it turns your stomach and things like that. Now, of course, you're always going to feel a little bit nervous when you're about to go on a date with a girl and stuff like that, or when you're about to ask them out. You're always going to have some nerves, but it's when these nerves become so kind of prominent that it comes across in your body language and it comes across in your vibe. I remember once when I first started dating my wife, she was telling me about these other girls that she had dated who would like buy her flowers and buy her gifts, and there was one occasion where she told me that this girl that she was dating made like this weird video of my wife, right, and basically put loads of like emotional music to it, like made like a I don't know, like a movie maker kind of like slideshow of her with like this romantic music and stuff. And they'd only been like dating for like a couple of months, like it wasn't like a huge thing. Probably it may have been even less than that. I don't know the 100% the full story, but my wife was telling me how weirded out she was by the fact that they would give her gifts so soon and that she made this weird video and stuff like that. And I remember saying to my wife when we first met, about this kind of thing, because we was talking about it, and I said to her, oh well, you'll be lucky to get a cream egg from me. Cream egg is like if you're in America, you might not be familiar, but there's a Cadbury chocolate item called a cream egg. And I said, oh, I'm not going to buy you flowers. You'll be lucky if you get a cream egg from me. And it's that kind of humor. Like, it's that kind of like, I'm not going to treat you like a princess. Like, I'm not going to buy you loads of things. Get out of here, basically. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to shower you with, like, massive amounts of flowers on the first couple of dates and stuff like that. You'd be lucky if you get a cream egg from me. It's that attitude. It's that, like, I'm not affected by you. I'm not going to shower you with all these things. Yeah, you don't deserve it yet, because I don't know you that well yet. Because if you're doing, like, these grand things before you are actually in a relationship with someone, then yeah, it's going to come across as a bit strange, as a bit weird, because it's obvious by you doing these things that you are more way into her than she is in you. And these kinds of things need to be on the same level. Either she has to be more interested in you than you are, or your interest in each other must be at the same level. If you, as the man, is way more interested, way more invested in her than she is in you, there's going to be a weird disconnect, and the sexual polarity is going to just dissipate, and she's not going to be attracted to you, because she can tell that you're affected by her, that you're way more affected by her than she is of you. So by being around women, by, talking to them and, becoming fascinated with women, becoming very observant as opposed to getting your emotions involved and getting to know them, being more comfortable in their presence is what's really, really going to help you. You need to get better with your social skills, basically, when it comes to women. You need to become better at talking to them. And the only way you can really do that is by taking out the idea that you're going to date them. Just start to get to know them, start to become used to being in their presence. Now, of course, you can also do this by, dating women as well. It's all about getting your practice in, basically, and becoming more used to women. Because you see, the key with confidence with women, and I wrote something down because I really wanted to stress this point, and it goes, confidence with women is not believing you are better than women, but from being comfortable around them. So you need to get used to that. And the only way you can get used to being around women is by putting yourself around women more often. Developing friendships with women, actually genuinely becoming friends with some women. But like I said, you got to make sure you don't get your emotions involved. You need to genuinely become friends with them. And if you do feel an attraction for them, then perhaps that's something that you can look to, down the line. But at the moment, if you need practice with women, then you need to start getting some female friends that you can talk to, so you can start being more comfortable around them and you can get used to being around them. You got to make it into a study, essentially. So for example, you could kind of separate your, female people into groups. You can say to yourself, okay, I'm going to get myself a few female friends. I'm going to start talking to a few girls at my workplace or where I go to school. And I'm also going to have another group of girls, which are girls that I date, right? And the girls that you date, I would recommend doing this as people that you go on dates with from online dating apps, right? So the people that you make friends with, the females that you make friends with, are people that are already in your available environment, basically. Right, so you start getting to know the women that are in your available environment. Perhaps they're women who live in your apartment block or something. Women that you go to school with, women that you go to work with, and then save your dating apps for women that you can actually date. So you separate them. So you can put your emotions with these women, and don't put your emotions in with these women. And just start getting out there and start talking to women more, because that's the only way you're going to do it. Practice makes perfect. And I'm not saying that your nervousness is going to go 100%, because it probably won't. Like I said, if you go on a date with a woman, then you're going to feel somewhat nervous when you're going on a first date and stuff, because you don't know them, you're not comfortable around them yet, because this is a completely new woman who you haven't interacted with. You don't know how it's going to go. She might be crazy for all you know, so of course you can have some kind of nervousness when you're meeting someone brand new, but it's about getting this nervousness to a normal level and not one where it's like affecting everything you do, where you just can't help but be in your head when you're around these women. So I hope that's helped you. It's all about your confidence. It's all about becoming more comfortable around women. And like I said, it's not about being better than them and feeling more superior than women or something like that, because, women can smell that a mile off as well as nervousness, right? So it's all about just getting to a place where you're comfortable around them and you can have a conversation and you can actually truly listen to what they're saying and their opinions, and, truly creating a connection with them where there's not this underlying romance going on. You have to really get to that point, because that's what's going to make you have a better connection with women and help you understand them more. So you've got to take that emotion out of the equation and try to just get to a point where you can get to know women as friends, and getting comfortable around them and being in that feminine presence and being used to that. So if you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.